And we are here at the FIBO in Cologne, Germany, doing the franchise check for all 16 franchises of the European League of Football in 2025. I am here with our resident European League of Football expert, Matt Bressington, and in this segment, we're going to be talking about the Raiders of Tirol. This is a squad that plays in perhaps the most beautiful stadium in all of European football, right under the Alps right there. Also a squad that has been very consistent with their record, being 8-4 for the last 3 seasons. Matt, let's talk a little bit about this squad here, starting off with the history there.
Here we go. So the history is short and sweet. They finished 8-4. They do it every single season. They haven't been able to get over the hump in terms of last season. They played against Munich in that playoff decider, fell short. They can't get it done. They kind of seems like always like the smaller brother in Austria.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then also they've never beaten the Vienna Vikings during their ELF stint here. So like back in the day when it was the Austrian Football League, sure, they've got some wins. But since it's been ELF, they have not been able to. And kind of describing them as the little brother, it's pretty accurate, unfortunately. And when you look at them almost making the playoffs last year, I mean, that final regular season game against Munich, that was damn near a playoff game, and they choked. They absolutely choked. It was a blowout, unexpected for a lot of people, and so they're hopefully looking to turn that around. So let's talk about this season. Let's talk about some of their key departures, guys who they no longer have with the squad.
Key departures. So, first and foremost, Devin Taylor, one of my favorite corners in the entire league. I feel he was... To carry on, go on.
Is he a top 50 player in the league or not?
He's a top 15 player in the league, Nick. I'm furious he was robbed of that spot. He deserved better. The former Philadelphia star.
He did.
One of many, actually, in the European League of Football. Lockdown, man cover corner, hyper aggressive on the ball, and he just shuts people out, and I really miss him, to be honest. Robert Lackman as well. He had struggles with injuries, but he's a great pass rusher, really underappreciated in a run game as well. Great player, very physically explosive, and I think he's going to be a big loss on this D-line.
Okay, then how about looking at some of the guys that they've been able to retain, the guys that they've been able to extend who have been contributors for the team in the past?
So I wanted to talk and highlight a couple of their homegrown units. Tobias Bonatti, running back. I mean, you could look at that whole running back room, and we'll get to that in a minute, but Bonatti is kind of the main focal point of that. He is probably the number 1 running back. Super balanced, over 5 yards per carry for his entire career. Just gets you 5 yards. Like, he will get it when you need it. You won't do any more, you won't do any less. He's just going to get you what you need. And then Philip Hahn. You like Philip Hahn as well a lot. He's a very good possession receiver. Came in really clutch at the end of the year. One of the more underappreciated. I always get messages from Austrian fans. Oh, you never talk about Philip Hahn enough in the top receivers. I'm talking about him now, okay?
You're right. I do like Philip Hahn. I don't think Philip Hahn likes me. Our only interaction in person is me being the cameraman on the sideline of a game, and he makes a catch and turns, and similar to what I said to Chad Jeffries yesterday in an interview, it just turns to, you like that shit right there? Whoa, man. Kind of. It's pretty good. Philip Hahn does not get enough credit. Fiery guy, and I hope him and I can repair our relationship. All right. Moving towards the roster here for 2025 and some of the key signings or the key additions. Who do we got here? And obviously starting off the quarterback position, a little bit of a turbulent one for them in the past. Now they've got Connor Miller. What do you think?
Absolutely. Turbulent's a good way to describe it. They've been in and out, haven't been able to find their guy. And they went through a few last year, they went through a year before that. Connor Miller is the guy they've chosen for this season. A lot of people were surprised. You know, he was fine in Barcelona. I don't think he set anyone's boards on fire or anything, but I actually think this is a really interesting pickup. Schematically, Connor Miller might be the best fit in maybe any team. Like, his game is tailor-made for what the Raiders have on their offensive system. And then you have Dijon Wolves, some of the best hips in the league, hyper-aggressive, comes from Morningside, you're a small school. You know how those small school corners play. They play nasty, I like that. And then, on the reverse, you got Aaron Maddox. He's coming in with that NFL pedigree of playing on the practice squad for the Colts, like many other players, weirdly, of this season. And he's a supreme athlete, man. You look at some of his footwork, how clean he is out of his breaks, and he'll be a big part of this team.
It's interesting what you say about Connor Miller, because, yeah, his time in Barcelona wasn't anything spectacular. However, at the same time, it was a franchise a little bit in shambles. Hard to do anything spectacular there. You're fighting for yourself off the field. And so I think that I'll be very curious to see how he performs in a more stable situation in the ELF. You know, he went to the GFL last year and did some good stuff, but now obviously the Raiders Tirol, granted, they haven't been exceptional, but they're a stable franchise at least,
Absolutely.
so we'll see. As long as they keep the quarterback position not so turbulent this year. So looking here, you touched a little bit on the running back room. This is a deep running back room. They've also got Hasselvanter, who was great last year, sort of running back by committee, if you will. Talk to me a little bit about that.
We got Benazzi, takes the majority of the carries. Hasselvanter takes probably second most. Those two, either one of those, I think could be an E in most teams. But then you have Tim Tonko as well. A young phenom, people calling him the next Sandro Platzkummer. Benching 150 kilos at 19 years old is not a normal thing. Also a track athlete in Austria. I've talked about him a lot. But Benazzi, Hasselvanter, and Tonko is probably the best running back room in the entire ELF. Like, it's insane.
We'll take there from Matt Bressington, best running back room in the ELF in the Alps of Tirol. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at their schedule for 2025. We're going to pick their games. I'll do the front half of the season. Matt, you got the back half. This is a tough team to kind of get a gauge. And we were talking earlier how you say, you know, they've got kind of a high floor, low ceiling, though. It's tough to really gauge where they're going to be. Kicking it off, I'm going to have them with a loss against the Ravens here. Unfortunately, I think it'll be a good game, but we're going to drop them there. They're going to pick up 2 wins against Helvetic and Cologne. I'll give them that. Is this the year that they finally beat the big brother in the ELF? No, not in my opinion. It is not. Ben Holmes is back. He's not going to allow that to happen. The Madrid Bravos, I don't think they're going to beat them in this matchup here. Give me the L right there. They're going to grab one more win against the Mercenaries and coming into the midpoint of the season, sitting at 500, 3-3.
Interesting. So, we got Vienna. Is this the year they finally overcome the Vienna? No, it is not. They're going to take a loss here. They go under 500. Right, and look at that end of that schedule.
Oh,
Nick.
it's disgusting.
Unbelievable. Ryan Fire, they take another L. Munich Ravens, they take another L. Madrid Bravos, they take another L. And then you get Ryan Fire again, they take another L. And then they salvage a little bit of dignity by beating Cologne in the final week of the season.
Well, Matt, look at that. 4-8. We were talking right at the top of this segment here how they have to find a way to break out of that 8-4 consistency. 8-4 every year, 8-4. And looks like they're going to do just that. They're going to flip it. They're going to go 4-8. Not sure if that's exactly what they want. All right, real talk though. This team does have potential. They're kind of a weird one, kind of a tweener. Like, they could really be pretty solid. What do you think they have to do to be able to live up to their ceiling potential and not fall to something like a 4-8 with this really tough schedule?
Yeah, I think it really sits on Connor Miller. Connor Miller has not proven to me and to other media members or whatever that he can beat the top level teams. He can get you a win. We saw in Cozy Perry force his way to a win last season. We don't know if Connor Miller can do that. He has Ja'Cory Sullivan at receiver position at A. I love Ja'Cory Sullivan. Just to touch him in slightly. So aggressive. He's kind of like a Malik Stanley, honestly, a lot like him. You have these great possession receivers. You have this great running back room. They've reinforced the offensive line for him. Hepler's an all-star and high-level offensive lineman to come over from Ryan. Defensively, they got some pieces. They've thrown everything at this season. So although it says 4-8, it could very easily be a 10-2 season. Like, it's such a weird.
Dude, it's so there's such a range. There's such a range of what we could see from this squad here. And this organization, I mean, it has a deep history in football in Europe. They've been very, very successful. And, you know, even though they haven't had the type of success that they've wanted so far in their ELF stints, they're trying to make moves to make that happen. So we will see what comes out of the Alps with the Raiders Tirol this year, and that is the franchise check for the Raiders.